How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome to our annual EA NHL playoff simulation. Today, taking you through the 2025 NHL postseason according to NHL 25. With the 8 first-round matchups now set, we can see what NHL 25 thinks the future may hold, and even though it will likely be wildly outlandish, it's always a fun experiment. When it comes to the roster that is being used for today's simulation, I'm using EA's most recent roster, so there are many overalls that aren't great, like Jake Wallman being an 87 overall in Edmonton, but I did go through and remove some players who are injured long-term, like Ekholm in Edmonton, Kirby Dach in Montreal, players like that, Nikolai Ehlers in Winnipeg, who's week-to-week right now. If the player was maybe going to return in round 1, like let's say Evander Kane in Edmonton, or Jason Robertson, who's a question mark in Dallas, I did keep them in, but for the guarantees like Jack Hughes in New Jersey and all that, those players have been removed, so it's not affect the simulation, which I'm not sure if EA is doing in their simulation that they do. So all the teams are set, the matchups are ready to go. We'll have more discussion on the actual analysis of these matchups in the real world later on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed to not miss out on any of that. But for now, we'll simulate through each series starting the postseason. No settings being touched aside from the usual attribute slider that I move up. Instead of it being the usual 5 on 10, I put it to 8 on 10. I always do that for my simulations. And injuries have been turned off. Of course, injuries will happen in the real world postseason, but to get as good of a feel as possible for this simulation, we'll keep the injuries turned off. So a ton of fantastic matchups await us. Let's get right into it. We'll recap each round that was once they've been completed. But let's start working through the 8 first-round matchups, starting with St. Louis versus Winnipeg, David versus Goliath matchup right here. The President's Trophy winning Jets playing against the St. Louis Blues, who are very, very hot to end the season. We'll be simming through the games just like this at the beginning, and then we'll go through the play-by-play once we're in the Stanley Cup Final. So game 1 of this first matchup here in the Western Conference, the Blues upset the Jets in Winnipeg to take game 1. Wow, already a wild start. All right, next up, the Vegas Golden Knights facing off against the Minnesota Wild. Another team that was a bit of a question mark, fighting with Calgary for those last couple wild card spots. So let's see Vegas versus Minnesota for game 1. And the underdog wins it as well. Both of those top 3 teams, Winnipeg and Vegas, lose game 1 on home ice. Wow. Now we bring it to the Eastern Conference for the Battle of Ontario. I cannot wait for this series. Toronto versus Ottawa. Let's see it for game 1 of the Battle of Ontario. It goes to Ottawa once again, to the underdog. The Senators take game 1. Wow. Let's hope, as a Canadiens fan, come on, let's do the same thing. Les Canadiens contre les Capitals. And as I should have mentioned as well, created players like Demidov and Nikishin also added to this roster for the Canadiens and Hurricanes respectively. So let's do it. Game 1 of this series. The Capitals take it, the first favorite to win a game through 4 matchups so far. We'll switch back to the Western Conference. Colorado and Dallas. Mikko Rantanen against his old team. The Avalanche are very strong. The Stars, will they have everybody for game 1? Probably not, but in the sim, they have Robertson, they have Miro Heiskanen. Game 1 going Dallas's way as the Stars have a 1-0 lead in the series. All right, Edmonton and LA for the 4th consecutive year facing off against each other. The Kings have home ice advantage, but the Oilers win game 1. All right, last couple series now. Florida versus Tampa. The Battle of Florida. Crazy first-round matchup. 2 teams that could certainly win the Eastern Conference facing off against each other, and game 1 will go to the Panthers. And now finally, the Hurricanes versus the Devils. No Jack Hughes in New Jersey. Let's see if the Hurricanes can stay as favorites. And yes, so a 1-0 series for now in the Hurricanes' favor. All right, let's continue on through round 1. Game 2, Blues and Jets. The Blues win both games in Winnipeg and now have a 2-0 series lead. Vegas versus Minnesota. The Golden Knights tied that series at 1. Senators versus Maple Leafs. The Leafs tie the series at 1. Canadiens and Capitals. 2-0 series lead for the Caps as they win both games in Washington. The Oilers, what am I saying? The Stars and the Avalanche, Dallas now a 2-0 series lead. That's going to be a tough one because we know that there's going to be injury trouble in the real world. Then Edmonton, LA for game 2. Oilers a 2-0 series lead, winning both games on the road. The Blues and the Oilers going up 2-0 on the road. Wow. Florida, that series is tied up as the Tampa Bay Lightning win that one, and the Devils and Hurricanes are tied at 1 as well. All right, pretty even split now going to game 3 of all these matchups. The St. Louis Blues! It's not EA NHL hockey if you don't have the top seed being swept in the first round, right? The Blues are up 3-0 in round 1. Oh my goodness. Despite 6 points in 3 games from Mark Scheifele. We'll get to that soon. Vegas goes up 2-1 after being down 1-0. They win back-to-back. Maple Leafs and Senators tied at 1. The Sens go up 2-1. Canadiens and Capitals. Yes, the Canadiens get 1. At least I can say there's that. All right, 2-1 series. Stars and Avalanche, 2-1. Avs have life. Oilers and Kings, 3-0 Oilers. 2 potential sweeps from underdogs, technically, in the Western Conference. Lightning and Panthers. The Lightning go up 2-1. And Hurricanes, Devils. The Hurricanes are up 2-1. All right, now it's the first time we might see some series being won. Winnipeg versus St. Louis. Could this be the sweep? No, the Jets have life. Woo! That's a close one. All right, Winnipeg versus Minnesota. The Golden Knights have now won 3 in a row after losing game 1. They go up 3-1. Maple Leafs and Senators, 2-2 series there. Capitals and Canadiens, 2-2 series as the Habs win both games on home ice at the Bell Center. Away les partisans! All right. Dallas versus Colorado, 2-2 series there as well. Now a chance for the Oilers to sweep, and they do. The lone sweep of the first round are sadly the LA Kings. They are swept and lose for a 4th consecutive year against the Oilers. That is a tough pill to swallow. Lightning versus Panthers, 2-2 series. Going to be a best of 3 as well there. And Hurricanes and Devils also tied at 2. So every series tied at 2 except for St. Louis and Vegas with a chance to win it right here. Let's see what Game 5 has in store. And the Blues do it! Oh my goodness, the Jets lose in 5. Nick Ehlers being out definitely did not help them. He's week to week, so I guess that makes perfect sense for the first 5 games of the series. And the Blues are through. Wow. Round 2 now. Sorry, Series 2. And the Wild, after losing 3 in a row, are back in it with a 3-2 series now for Vegas. Ottawa and Toronto. The Sens take a 3-2 series. It's been back and forth the whole time, with Ottawa having the edge. Canadiens and Capitals now went 2-2 both ways. Who takes the lead into this next game? It's going to be the Capitals with a 3-2 series lead and the chance to finish it off in Game 6. Stars and Avalanche. The Stars go up 3-2. Panthers and Lightning. Panthers are up 3-2. And then now we have the Hurricanes up 3-2. All right, back to Vegas. Can they close it off, or will we see 7? Yes, they do. Vegas closes out the Wild in a 6-game series. Can the Senators eliminate the Maple Leafs in round 1? No. The Leafs push for Game 7. Can the Canadiens push for the same? No. The Capitals win in 6, which would still be, I think, a victory for the Canadiens. Dallas and Colorado, the Stars finish off. No, that series will see 7 as well. Can the Lightning push 7? No, the Panthers take it in 6. And how about the Devils? Can they push 7? No, the Hurricanes also take that series in 6. All right, so 2 Game 7s left now. The Senators and the Maple Leafs. Who will take the Battle of Ontario going to 7? The winner moving to round number 2 will be the Ottawa Senators! Back-to-back the entire time. Ottawa, Toronto, all the way until Game 7. And the Sens take it. Wow! And finally, Colorado versus Dallas. The Stars win that series too. Back and forth. And that is round 1, ladies and gentlemen. Bringing us to round 2, which we'll see Dallas versus St. Louis, Vegas versus Edmonton, that's in the West. Then in the East, Florida versus Ottawa, and Washington versus Carolina. Through round 1, let's see the point totals for all the teams. Let's fly through these very quickly. Carolina being led by Roslovic and Stankoven right now. Colorado being led by Nathan MacKinnon. Of course, also Gabe Landeskog should be in this lineup. The game isn't playing him, and there's all these glitches where you try to scroll through. I don't know why. So I guess the game isn't playing him, but he's in the roster. Dallas being led by Nick Robertson, who might not be there. Then Edmonton with Evan Bouchard with 7 points. Connor McDavid just 1 goal and 3 points in 4 games. Not surprised, right? He's only 97 overall. Florida with Reinhart leading the way at 7 points. Kempe was the only point-per-game player in Los Angeles. Minnesota, Ryan Hartman and Marco Rossi at 7 and 6, negative tough plus-minuses. Montreal Canadiens were led by Kapanen, Laine, and Dvorak. Lane Hudson 4 assists. Did they play Demidov? No, the computer didn't put him in. Cole Caulfield, 6 games, 1 goal. Oh boy. Okay. New Jersey Devils, Nico Hischier and Thomas Tatar, 6 points apiece. Ottawa Senators led by Tim Stützle, point per game. Artem Zubas, 5. St. Louis Blues have Rob Thomas with 6. Bolduc and Snuggerud with 5 each. Tampa Bay has Kucherov and Gensel at 7 points apiece. Toronto, 9 points from Max Domi. 5 goals from Austin Matthews. Washington, 7 points from Connor McMichael with 5 goals. And Winnipeg had 10 points in 5 games from Mark Scheifele, but didn't do it. Let me guess, 94 overall Connor Hellebuck, who's going to win the Vezina, maybe even the Hart. had an 854 save percentage. No, 1-4, 909 save percentage, 3.25 goals against average. So that was Winnipeg for Hellebuck. Washington, Logan Thompson looking good. Vegas, Aiden Hill, not bad. Toronto, Joseph Wall is a wall, that's for sure. Tampa Bay, there he is. Vasilevsky, 93 overall, 895 save percentage. St. Louis, Binnington there. Ottawa, mostly with Ullmark, just one appearance from Forsberg. New Jersey, tough numbers from Markstrom. The Canadiens, Montembeault, yeah. Minnesota, Philip Gustafson, 898. Darcy Kemper, 893 in LA. Florida, 909 from Bobrovsky. Edmonton, Stuart Skinner looked great with a shutout. Dallas, Jake Ottinger also shutout, looking very, very good. Colorado, Mackenzie Blackwood did what he could. Carolina, Freddie Anderson, and there you have it. All right, so there is round one, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go straight into the conference semifinals. Dallas versus St. Louis. The Blues with a 5-game series. The Stars with a 7-game series. So there, the Blues a bit more rested. Game 1 of this series goes to St. Louis. They're now 5-1 in the postseason. Edmonton, coming off of their sweep, they're facing Vegas. They had to face a 6-game series, and that is 1-0 in Vegas's favor. Now the Senators facing off against the Panthers. Another David versus Goliath type matchup. First game goes Ottawa's way. Ooh, boy. Oh my goodness, I wonder. All right, and the Hurricanes versus the Capitals in game 1 go Carolina's way. All right, goes Carolina's way. Game 2 now. Can the Blues continue this run? Yes, they can. They're 2-0. They win both games on the road to now be 6-1. Oh my goodness. Oilers versus Golden Knights. Vegas going up 2-0. They need Connor McDavid there in Edmonton. Ottawa and Florida. The Sens also up 2-0. Can the Hurricanes do the same thing? Yes, they can. All 4 series have a 2-0 lead, with 3 out of 4 being the statistical underdog. Oh my goodness. All right, Dallas 4-5 right now. The Blues are up 3-0. The St. Louis Blues. Put your house on St. Louis. Oh my goodness. Now, Vegas is not able to go up 3-1 as the Oilers have life. Can the Senators go up 3-0? Oh, they can! Ottawa and St. Louis, 2 wildcard teams, are up 3-0 in the second round. How about the Hurricanes? Same thing. Wow, 3 out of 4 series are up 3-0, and they're all with the statistical underdog. Can the Blues finish off this round? No. Dallas has some life, finally. Can the Oilers tie up this series? Yes, they can. 2-2 there between Vegas and Edmonton. Can the Panthers get back in this? Yes, they can as well. The only sweep possible left. Do the Capitals have life? No, they don't! As the Hurricanes are now 8-2, and they sweep the top seed in the East. The Capitals are out in round 2. The Hurricanes are off to the Eastern Conference Final, where they are 0-12, is it? Is that the stat? 0-12? They've been swept out the last 3 times they've been there. We'll find out. The Blues, can they finish this off here? Yes, they can. 5-game series for the Blues. You knew it was going to happen. Oh, wow. They will face either Vegas or Edmonton in the Western Conference Final. Game 5 goes Vegas's way. They're up 3-2. Can Ottawa punch their ticket to the Eastern Conference Final? Yes, they can! The Sens are through. The 2 underdogs, the Senators versus the Hurricanes, will be the East. Wow, and the Blues will either face Vegas now or it goes to 7. Let's find out. The Oilers push 7 from a 2-0 Vegas lead to Game 7 now. Here we go. Who's facing the Blues? Game 7, the Blues are going to be facing the Oilers! Edmonton comes back. Wow! Big comeback against Vegas. 19 points from Jack Eichel, but they're not enough, as Edmonton and St. Louis will face off in the West, and Carolina and Ottawa will face off in the East, with a 50-50 chance of a Canadian team making it to the Stanley Cup Final. Jack Eichel, number 1 in league scoring. Mark Stone, number 2, but Vegas is out. All right, who can we check the updates on? Jack Roslovic still leading the way with 12 points in 10 games, and Stankoven still behind him with 10. All right. Next up, let's see, Dallas. Jason Robertson, they get eliminated. He had 13 points in 12 games. Edmonton is through. Leon Draisaitl now with 14 points. McDavid now 11. Evander Kane is healthy and contributing. Trent Frederick has 8 points as an 82 overall. All right. Florida eliminated. Sam Bennett had 12. He was -5. Reinhardt 11. Barkov just 7. Boy. The Kings were out. Who else was new here? Ottawa. No one really that flashy, but scoring by committee. Giroux and Stützle both have 9. Perron, Batherson 8. Cousins, Amadio, and Zub all 7. Zetterlund, Sanderson 6. All right. And St. Louis, of course, the favorites right now. Again, no one's super flashy. 9 from Thomas, 8 from Buchnevich and Boldzuk, 7 from Snuggerud. All right. And that is just Washington. Alex Ovechkin eliminated, sadly, 6 goals and 10 points from Ovi through 2 rounds. Let's also see the goaltending updates here. So, Freddie Anderson, 8-1-1 with his numbers here in Carolina. Jake Ottinger eliminated with a 5-7-0 record. Great numbers for being 5-7. Stuart Skinner, 8-2-1 with very impressive numbers. Florida eliminated Bobrovsky, 5-4-2 over 3 goals against average. Wasn't great. Then that leaves the Ottawa Senators. Linus Ullmark, 8-4 with 2 shutouts. 919 save percentage, 2.57 goals against. Jordan Binnington is 8-2 with a 925 save percentage and 2.51 goals against average. Sorry, I missed Vegas. I'm sorry about that. Vegas is scoring. Jack Eichel, of course. Like I said, Eichel 19, Stone 15, Barbashev 12. Compare that to Ottawa and St. Louis, but they're out. Wow. And then the goaltending for Vegas was Aiden Hill. There, 2 shutouts as well from him. Boy. And Washington, Logan Thompson, 4-5-1. He might be injured to start the postseason anyways. But there you go. All right, there is round 2, ladies and gentlemen. Moving into the conference finals now, between the 4 teams still left, highest scoring would be Edmonton. Best defensive, also Edmonton. Best power play, Edmonton. And best penalty kill, Edmonton. Ooh, could the Oilers be the favorites right now, as they are facing off against the underdog Blues, who are 8-2. They're 8-3, Edmonton are. So let's see, for this Western Conference Final, Game 1, the Oilers do take it, and the Blues, for the first time, are not leading a series. Hurricanes and Sens now. Hurricanes 8-2, Sens 8-4. Could the Cinderella run continue for the Senators? Yes, it does. 1-0 series lead for the Sens. All right, Game 2 here in the West. The Oilers go up 2-0. Bad news for St. Louis, sadly. Can the Sens continue this here? Yes, they can! Up 2-0 over the Hurricanes, winning both games on the road. The Blues are now down 2-0, losing back-to-back for the first time this postseason. They need a win here at home, and they get it. 2-1 series. The Hurricanes and the Sens now up 2-0 are the Senators, and the Hurricanes come back, make a 2-1 series. All right, no sweeps happening in the conference finals. Now, back to St. Louis, where they tied a series at 2. All right, it's going to be a best of 3. And now to the Hurricanes on Ottawa's home ice. Yes, can they tie up the series? They can. So both series go up 2-0, and both series are now tied at 2 through 4 games. We'll go into any elimination games starting from the conference finals here. Game 5, and the Blues are up 3-2. After losing back-to-back games, the St. Louis Blues are now up 3-2, and will have a chance to end it in Game 6 in St. Louis. That's true. They'll be back on home ice, as Game 5 was in Edmonton. Now we're back in Carolina for Game 5 in the Eastern Conference Final, and the Sens also take it. Both underdogs have a chance to move to the Stanley Cup Final. Let's check this out. Here we go. Blues versus Oilers in St. Louis for a chance to go to the Stanley Cup Final, similar to their last Stanley Cup run. Could they do something similar? First period, Kane, Falk, and Bouchard. Second period, 3-2 Blues as Kyrou scores twice. Third period now as the Blues have the 1-goal lead. Power play St. Louis, killed off by Edmonton. Shots are 31-23 as Jake Wallman ties this game. 87 overall, Jake Wallman somehow. 3-3 halfway through the third. Power play Oilers, and there's Evan Bouchard scoring as the power play expires, but Jimmy Snuggerud, the rookie, answers right back. 4-4 power play Blues. Check out the NHL 25 Jimmy Snuggerud sim if you haven't already. Gonna go ahead and plug that, and we're off to overtime. A goal for the Blues will send them to the Stanley Cup Final. A goal for the Oilers will send this series to 7. Here we go in the first overtime period. Shots 40-34 after 60 in St. Louis's favor, and the Blues are off to the Stanley Cup Final. Toropchenko plays hero, and the Blues win in 6 to punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup Final after going down 2-0. They win 4 in a row, outshooting the Oilers 44-35 in Game 6, and they're off the Stanley Cup Final. Wow, wow, wow. Who would have thunk it? St. Louis Blues are off. Now, will they face the Senators, who win in 6, or will the Hurricanes push it to 7? Here we go. In the nation's capital, here in Ottawa. First period, 3-0 Hurricanes, Stankoven, Hall, and Martinook. Second period, 5-0. The Hurricanes are ready to push it to 7. Yes, wow, 6-0 victory. Freddie Anderson and the Hurricanes shut out the Senators. Now going to Game 7. Winner of this game will face off against the Blues for Lord Stanley. Here we go. I'm glad it's not a typical Edmonton versus Toronto EA final. Blues versus Hurricanes or Blues versus Sens. Let's find out. First period, 1-0 Hurricanes. Sebastian Aho on the power play. Second period, 2-0 Hurricanes. Jordan Martinook, even strength. Shots are 23-20 for the Hurricanes here on home ice for the Canes. 2-1, Claude Giroux gets the Senators back in this. They have life on the power play now. Killed off, power play, Canes. Killed off as well, even strength with 12 minutes to go. And it's Crookshank who ties this game at 2 of all the players. Crookshank ties it at 2. Wow. 5 minutes to go. With this game tied at 2, next goal will push you to the Stanley Cup Final. 50 seconds and we're off to overtime. Game 7 overtime. Shots are 32-29. The next player to score will send their team to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time in many years for both sides. First overtime, it's a goal for the Hurricanes from Taylor Hall! The deadline acquisition! And the Hurricanes are off to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since when? 2006? That's when they won, right? 19 years later, the Hurricanes are through. Taylor Hall's the winner. Shots end tied at 33, and the magical run ends here for Ottawa, sadly. One magical run on the West, but sadly not another in the East, as the Blues will play the Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup Final. Let's check out the stats here for both teams moving into it. So the Hurricanes and the Blues are scoring only 2.75 and allowing so they're scoring less and allowing more, while the Hurricanes are scoring 3.18 and allowing 2.47. Interesting. Power plays are very similar, just within 0.3% of each other. Penalty kill goes to Carolina by like 1.5%, so all right. And let's see, at home, so the Hurricanes will have home ice advantage. They're 5-4 at home. The Blues are 7-2 on the road, but the Hurricanes are 7-1 on the road. All right, this is going to be something. This is going to be something. So let's check out the two teams that were eliminated as well. Evan Bouchard now leading the postseason in points with 20-17. So the Hurricanes still led by Jack Roslovic, 16 points in 17 games. Stankoven 14, Aho 13. Svechnikov just 1 goal, shooting at 2.4%. With 12 points. Freddie Anderson, 12-3-2, 1 shutout, 930 save percentage, 2.3 goals against average. Then the Edmonton Oilers, Bouchard now eliminated, 20 points in 17 games. Draisaitl point per game. McDavid just 5 goals, but 15 points. And goaltending, Stuart Skinner, 10-3-4, unlucky. 1 shutout, 925 save percentage, 2.32 goals against average. Really unfortunate for Stuart Skinner. Then over to the Ottawa Senators. Tim Stützle had 13 points in 19 games. Giroux 12 with 8 goals. Mike Amadio, 11 points, 6 goals. Batherson also 11. Amadio, whatever. 80 overall. 6 goals, 11 points. Perron 10, Zetterlund 9. All the way down there. Linus Ullmark 11, 7-1. 3 shutouts, 918 save percentage. 2.63 goals against average. And finally, the St. Louis Blues, currently led only by Pavel Buchnevich, 12 points in 16 games. It's a -1. Snuggerud and Thomas, 11 points each. Boldzuk with 10. And goaltending, Bington, 12-4-0. 1 shutout, 925 save percentage, and 2.54 goals against average. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, for the Stanley Cup Final. I'm going to do the slow sim, but I'll go through them much more quickly. And I'll just let the third period run if it's an elimination game. Game 1, first period 0-0, second period 1-1, Boldzuk and Svechnikov, there's the second goal. Third period 2-1 Canes as Tyson Jost gets the winner on the power play. Hurricanes go up 1-0 as they win on home ice. All right, game 2 between the Hurricanes and the Blues. Now, I guess technically maybe they gave the home ice to St. Louis, but in simulation doesn't really mean anything for the storylines, what we're talking about. First period, 1-0, Tyson Jost continuing where he left off. Second period, Zach Boldzuk ties it. And third period, the Hurricanes win it. Burns in the power play, and then Stahl even strength. Snuggerud comes back to the power play goal, but the Hurricanes hang on in the last 5 minutes to win by another 1-goal margin. Hurricanes now up 2-0, headed back to St. Louis for the first game of the Stanley Cup Final that the Blues have on home ice. First period, 0-0. Second period, 2-2. Hall, Leddy, Jost again, and Tucker. Third period, 4 overtime. Svechnikov and Jost, crazy. Jost again scored twice, but then 2 goals in the final 3.5 minutes from Boldzuk and Tucker again to send it to overtime, where the Hurricanes win. Jankowski. The Blues lose a third consecutive game by 1 goal. And the Hurricanes are now 1 game away, ladies and gentlemen. Could they sweep the Stanley Cup Final, or can the Blues come back as they did, down 2-0? just in the Western Conference Final. First period 0-0. Second period 2-0 Hurricanes. Aho and Stahl. Maybe the doing it in the calendar would have changed something. And in the slow sim, the Blues just can't do it, and that where their lower overalls come through when you go into I don't know what it is, but Aho puts the Hurricanes up 3-0, and they are now just minutes away from sweeping the St. Louis Blues. Let's hop in and check out the ending. And with a 3-0 shutout, ladies and gentlemen, the Carolina Hurricanes sweep the St. Louis Blues to win the 2025 Stanley Cup Championship. The Hurricanes win it on St. Louis's home ice. Except for Game 4, Games 1, 2, and 3 were all won by just 1 goal. Will the Conn Smythe go to Jack Roslovic? No, to Freddie Anderson, the rare goalie Conn Smythe. Makes sense, though. 2.3 goals against average, 929 save percentage. The Game 4 shutout. Freddie Anderson, your Conn Smythe winner. That makes sense. Between Roslovic and Jost, it was nice to see the scoring come from the depth. But the Hurricanes didn't have to rely too much on the goal scoring of, say, Andrei Svechnikov. So Nikishin also on this roster. I don't think they played him, but Nikishin on this roster would also be a Stanley Cup champion here as a rookie. And now the captain is called out over Jordan Staal. From Rod Brendamore 19 years ago to now Jordan Staal in 2025. The second Stanley Cup in Hurricanes franchise history as Jordan Staal raises the Stanley Cup in St. Louis for the Hurricanes to be crowned as Stanley Cup champions. Wonderful confetti, big playoff beard. Love to see that from Jordan Staal. Can I choose? No, I cannot choose the game. I don't know why it goes up and down, because I'm not touching my controller literally at all. Taylor Hall, who had the big winner to send the Hurricanes, that's true, to even be here in the Cup Final. They would not be here without trade deadline acquisition Taylor Hall on, his 8th team as a first overall pick. Taylor Hall finally a Stanley Cup champion, doing so in heroic fashion this postseason. Next up, who are they giving it to? Brent Burns, that'll make a lot of sense. No, let's give it to the rookie, right? Jackson Blake? There you go. I don't know why it goes up and down like that. Why give it to the 40 or 41-year-old? There you go. Jackson Blake gets it next. That makes sense. And finally, between all these legends, Burns, Anderson, Slavin, who's going to get it here? Even Orlov, but it's going to go to Stankoven or Chatfield, right? Let's see. I don't know where this roulette is going. And Freddie Anderson gets it, finally. The Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Finally a Stanley Cup champion. Anaheim to Toronto to Carolina. All of his health issues. Great to see. Everyone gathering around now for that picture. Go ahead and get your screenshots out. Snap a picture. It'll last a lifetime. And there it is. Stanley Cup champions, Carolina Hurricanes. Let's see the names on that cup. Panthers 23-24, then Hurricanes 24-25. Jordan Staal captain. Aho, Anderson, Blake, Burns, Carrier, Chatfield, Ghost, Hall, Jankowski, Jarvis, Jost, Kachetkov, Kotkaniemi, Martinuk, Nikishin, Orlov, Robinson, Roslovic, Slavin, Stankoven, Svechnikov, and Walker. So there it is. Your Stanley Cup champions are the Carolina Hurricanes, sweeping the Blues in the 2025 final. Here is the final playoff tree for you. If you're curious, you can go ahead and just lock in all these predictions. Obviously, what a crazy playoff tree, especially with the Winnipeg losing in 5 in round 1. The runs from both St. Louis and Ottawa to their respective conference finals. Wow, wow, wow. So let me know in the comments down below, definitely, which ones kind of make sense and which ones do you think are just the most outlandish. The final 2 team stats, let's look at this. We'll start with St. Louis, as the Blues end with Zach Boldzuk, really the rookie, as their leading scorer, 13 points in 20 games. Snuggerud, Buchnevich both with 12, Thomas and Shen with 11, Kyrou 10, and then everybody else here if you're curious about seeing that. It's like even, for example, Torrey Krug, I took him out of this lineup so that it wouldn't be ridiculous to see him in there. Then for the goaltending, Jordan Binnington, 12-7-1, 1 shutout, 921 save percentage, and 2.68 goals against average. Then for Carolina, Stankoven, 19 points in 21 games, the pickup from the Rantanen trade. Wow, 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 it worked out and got them a Stanley Cup. Roslovic, 17, Aho, 16, Svechnikov, 3 goals and 16 points. Ghost, Burns, Hall, Jarvis, Blake, Jost, 5 goals, with all of them coming in the Stanley Cup final almost. And there you go for everybody else. With Freddie Anderson, your Conn Smythe winner, going 16-3-2 with 2 shutouts, a 932 save percentage, and 2.2 goals against average. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe and hit that bell if you haven't already to be notified of all of our uploads and live streams here on the channel between NHL 25, MLB The Show 25, our breaking news and analysis in the real world of hockey, our breakdowns of the postseason series that will come, our bracket challenge here on the channel memberships being rolled out this weekend as well. There's a lot to be excited about, and it'll be that much stronger of a team with you as a part of it. So join us and the almost 9,000 subscribers and the over 700 Discord server members in this community that would love to hear your voice. So thanks again for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next simulation, which will be for the Stanley Cup Final in a few weeks' time.